There's an invisible battle raging deep within the human soul. It's not a conflict unfolding on battlefields, nor a clash of swords or firearms. It's a far more intimate and hidden war, fought inside everyone who has ever felt the pulsating pain of emotional upheaval. Imagine moments when your heart pounds in response to disrespect, or when your thoughts scatter in confusion from a simple ignored message. Sometimes, a single careless word is enough to ruin an entire day, plunging someone into despair. Yet despite the internal storm, an outward calm is maintained. A smile appears, a head nods in agreement, and lips utter the practiced, "I'm fine." Beneath this mask of serenity, however, lies a deep internal struggle, a feeling of drowning in a sea of one's own emotions. This is the silent emotional battle almost everyone wages, hiding their suffering from plain sight. The sad truth is that the vast majority lose it. People react impulsively. Their emotions explode like gunpowder, and they break under pressure. The reason isn't their weakness or lack of willpower, but rather that they were never taught the art of maintaining composure and inner balance when chaos rages around them. You've probably encountered such individuals, those who can navigate the fiercest storms without flinching. These are people who keep their emotions under strict control, even when others completely lose theirs. It's crucial to understand they aren't devoid of feelings, insensitive, or heartless. They simply possess an astonishing imperviousness to external irritants. And no, this isn't an innate quality. It's the result of persistent and deliberate training, a path revealed to only a few. This is precisely what we will discuss. The following discourse will introduce 9 profound Stoic habits capable of granting every individual unshakable emotional control. This isn't a false strength, nor a pretense for external approval, but a genuine, deep inner power. This power doesn't need external validation, doesn't seek revenge, and doesn't crave attention. It is self-sufficient and unbreakable. To begin, it's crucial to grasp the wisdom of the ancient philosopher Seneca, who once declared, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." His words remain profoundly relevant today. Too often, people overthink, overreact to minor events, and even rehearse pain in their minds long before it actually arrives. Consequently, to achieve true emotional imperviousness, you must strip your imagination of its power over your mind and feelings, for this is the harsh reality. There's no need to absorb every negative emotion people throw your way. You don't have to respond to every insult or shoulder every emotional burden simply because it knocks at your door. For someone striving for inner harmony, discipline is truly necessary. However, this isn't about rigid, robotic control, but rather the kind that grants true freedom. Stoic philosophy doesn't advocate suppressing or destroying one's emotions. Instead, it offers a profound teaching on how to avoid being enslaved by them. This ancient approach helps individuals rise above daily hustle and chaos, allowing them to acquire the rare and invaluable ability to maintain inner calm even in the eye of the storm. Stoicism demonstrates how one can detach from a situation without guilt, how one can remain silent and still prevail. Most importantly, it instructs the individual in the art of winning those internal battles that remain invisible to the outside world. It's important to understand that you're not broken just because you feel too intensely. However, you risk being overwhelmed if you don't master the art of tempering your emotions when it becomes vital. The 9 Stoic habits presented next aren't meant to radically change your personality, transforming you into something else. Their true purpose is to help uncover the authentic version of yourself that has remained hidden, buried beneath layers of tumultuous emotions, constant confusion, and external pressure. So, if you've ever found yourself thinking, "I just can't let go. Why do I get so emotional? I wish I could stay calm like other people," then these principles are for you. Ponder this statement deeply. You control your emotions. They do not control you. Let's move on to the first of the 9 Stoic principles. 1. React as if the situation isn't personal, even if it initially seems to be. Imagine this. Someone insults you, spreads lies, or shows blatant disrespect right to your face, and you feel that characteristic tightening in your chest. The natural, almost instinctive desire at such a moment is to defend yourself, retaliate, or immediately correct the opponent. However, Stoic philosophy offers a fundamentally different approach, articulated by Marcus Aurelius. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. What does this profound statement truly mean? It implies that the genuine cause of suffering often lies not in the external event itself, however unpleasant, but in how an individual interprets and evaluates that event in their mind. Most people tend to take everything personally because their self-identity is often quite unstable. If someone disagrees with their viewpoint, they immediately feel attacked. If someone doesn't like them, they experience rejection. And if their work is criticized, they feel worthless. However, the Stoic approach offers a different strategy. You must detach your ego from the present moment. This is necessary not because it's easy, but because it's an absolute prerequisite for achieving inner balance and peace of mind. When someone loses their temper, their behavior speaks more about their own internal issues than about the value or significance of the person to whom the emotional outburst is directed. They are displaying their own internal chaos, not defining anyone's true essence. Therefore, instead of succumbing to an impulsive emotional reaction, step back, pause, and view the situation as an impartial observer. Ask yourself, is this truly about me? What if the other person is simply projecting their own pain and internal conflicts? Will this matter in 24 hours? It is in this gap between the verbal insult or negative event and your reaction that true freedom is found. For as soon as you stop taking things personally, a completely new level of emotional resilience opens up to you. You become someone who can listen calmly, express thoughts deliberately, and not react just for the sake of reacting. Such a person doesn't withdraw or give in to impulses of rage. They merely observe and then make a conscious decision on how to respond, with inner strength and confidence, rather than under the sway of fleeting emotions. Certainly, this path may seem thorny and difficult at first, but the more you practice, the stronger you become. You aren't avoiding conflict itself. Rather, you are achieving genuine self-mastery. And there's something even deeper in this process. When you stop making everything that happens the center of your own identity, you actually gain control over yourself. This is the Stoic paradox. So, the next time someone tries to pull you into drama, conflict, or emotional turmoil, act as if what's happening isn't personal, even if it seems that way at first glance. 2. Eradicate emotional speed. Think in slow motion. Often you experience a sudden rush of feelings, anger, anxiety, or pain. These sensations instantly overwhelm you, And before your mind can process what's happening, your speech reacts. Harsh words are spoken, doors are slammed, contacts are blocked. And just 5 minutes later, regret sets in. Such is the nature of emotional speed. It deprives you of the necessary pause, directly connecting the trigger to the reaction and leaving no room for deliberate action. However, Stoicism offers a different wisdom, expressed by Marcus Aurelius. Make it your habit to assume that people act wrongly involuntarily. According to this principle, you are called to slow down. This applies not only to words spoken, but also to forming judgments, expressing anger, and the overall speed of reaction to external stimuli. When someone says something offensive, ask yourself, what if this doesn't require an immediate reaction? What if I give it 24 hours before saying anything? There's no need to react to every emotion the moment it arises. Your true strength lies precisely in the ability to delay your response. Understand that the human mind is fast, while wisdom moves slowly. And if you aim to achieve emotional imperviousness, you must suppress the speed that destroys your inner peace. Imagine this. Someone insults you. You pause. You say nothing. You breathe. You walk away. You reflect on what happened. By the time you decide how to respond, you realize it no longer matters to you. This is true personal growth. Emotions often give things an illusion of urgency, but this urgency is the irreconcilable enemy of peace. What you feel in the first 10 seconds is often just useless noise. But if you show patience, if you move at a slow pace, you will give your mind enough time to clear this noise. Ultimately, you will realize that most situations don't deserve a response. Most arguments are just cunning traps. And most emotions are merely fleeting phenomena, like passing weather. And this doesn't mean you're showing weakness. On the contrary, it indicates strategic thinking. It means you consciously choose inner peace, prioritizing it over empty pride. For true self-control manifests when, feeling the flame of anger rise in your chest, you still speak as if you are made of pure water. Let others make noise. Let them cast doubt. Let them rush in their hasty judgments. A person with such maturity moves in silence. They utter words only after deep reflection. They react purposefully, not in panic. This is emotional maturity, and it makes you truly invulnerable. So the next time emotions overwhelm you, don't rush to meet them at the threshold of your consciousness. Let them wait. Let them settle. Let them cool down. Only then can you decide how to act, and you will do so on your own terms. Ponder this statement. He slows down to stay in control. 3. Let go of the need to explain yourself. You often feel misunderstood. You sense that you're being judged, and your first instinct is to explain yourself. A desire to prove you're right. A need to convince others that you're not who they perceive you to be. However, the essence is this. Stoicism doesn't demand that you be understood. It demands that you be at peace with the fact that you might not be understood. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. You owe no one an explanation. Most people who demand explanations aren't truly listening to understand. They're waiting for a sign of weakness. And even if you give the perfect answer, they'll still twist it. This is why the habit of not explaining yourself is so powerful. It doesn't mean you avoid honesty. It means you've learned to let your actions speak louder than any excuses. You don't seek to account for your inner transformation, for it manifests in your being, in every day lived. You don't search for justifications for your restraint or silence, but safeguard it as a valuable possession. Every choice you make requires no defense or rationale, as you fully embrace responsibility for it and own it. The truth is, for those who genuinely value a person, there's no need for lengthy explanations of their motives or actions. However, if you don't encounter true respect or recognition, no arguments will be convincing or sufficient. This leads to a natural question. Is it worth expending your precious life energy trying to earn approval in a society that often profits from others' insecurity and doubt? Society will inevitably form its own narratives about you, regardless of your words or actions. Let them. Let them misinterpret your motives. Let them speculate and assume. Let them spread rumors and whisper behind your back. And you? You must continue your development, steadily moving forward. You must continue your inner healing, overcoming past traumas. You must continue your path, undisturbed by external judgments. Every moment spent trying to explain yourself to someone who has already formed a biased opinion is a moment irrevocably stolen from your inner peace and harmony. Thus, it's recommended to reduce words and increase actions. Let your life itself be the exhaustive answer to any questions or doubts. This isn't arrogance or haughtiness, but true self-respect and dignity. For when you stop feeling the need to constantly explain your motives and actions, you finally gain true freedom. You are freed from needing anyone's permission to exist or act. You are freed from the exhausting pursuit of external approval. You are freed from the emotional dictates and control of others' opinions and judgments. You deeply understand your essence. You know who you truly are. You clearly understand what you stand for and what your principles are. And you absolutely don't need an external audience or spectators to feel your authenticity and significance. Therefore, there's no need to diminish yourself or your merits to make others feel more comfortable. There's no point in trying to express your inner worth solely through words. For inner peace and harmony require no explanatory subtitles or external translation. 4. Build an unbreakable inner wall, impenetrable to external intrusions. Imagine this scenario. You enter a room and feel the general atmosphere shift. Someone conspicuously rolls their eyes. Someone openly mocks your idea. You might smile in return, but inside, something breaks. Returning home, you spend the entire night dwelling on it. The reason is that most people live their lives emotionally exposed, wide open, vulnerable. Not in a sense that implies strength and openness, but rather defenselessness against negative influences. Your inner world, sometimes hidden from external view, inevitably shakes under the impact of every judgmental glance, every harsh word, every manifestation of rejection. This deep echo resonating within is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, this sensitivity is an inherent part of human nature, a manifestation of genuine humanity. However, Stoic philosophy offers a unique approach to this phenomenon. It calls for erecting an invisible wall, formed not of physical stone, but of internal, unshakable boundaries. As Marcus Aurelius once wisely noted, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This means that external manifestations, whether words or actions of others, cannot penetrate the very core of your being unless you open that inner door to them. A logical question arises: how is this inner fortress built? Its construction begins with a conscious decision. Your personal peace and mental equilibrium are not subject to public discussion or judgment. You stop delegating the evaluation of your own worth to those who lack self-respect. You cease seeking emotional validation or permission from those indifferent to your well-being. This invisible wall is created in the absolute silence of inner focus. Its construction occurs in every moment when you consciously refrain from responding to provocation. It strengthens whenever you allow someone else's opinion to simply slide off the surface of your soul, like raindrops off a roof. Every time you internally tell yourself, "This has nothing to do with me," there's no need to harden your heart or erect emotional barriers, turning yourself into an unfeeling person. It's enough to reliably protect your inner world and spirit from unwanted intrusions. And no, such an approach doesn't mean pretending that external circumstances don't cause pain or discomfort. The essence lies in consciously choosing what gains access to your mental space. For the truth is, the human mind is a sacred, inviolable territory. Not everyone is worthy of entering it. Not every statement or action deserves an emotional reaction. And certainly, not everyone has the right to gain the key to your most intimate emotions. Therefore, it's recommended to actively practice this principle. When someone tries to induce guilt, mentally visualize this inner wall. If someone seeks to manipulate, feel the strength of this invisible barrier. In cases of humiliation or insult, allow the wall to absorb the negative impact so you don't have to suffer. The world, undoubtedly, will not stop testing you. However, this doesn't mean you should continue to bleed emotionally, subjecting yourself to constant trauma. You gain inner power each time you allow meaningless commotion to pass by without absorbing it. You don't stop showing care or empathy. You simply stop breaking down under the pressure of external circumstances. And the more diligently you build this invisible wall within yourself, the more unshakable you become to outside influences. Let others speak. Let them judge. Let them try to hurt or tease. You now have an inner foundation, a solid wall built from calm, truth, and strict discipline. Ponder this statement deeply. You protect your peace with invisible walls. 5. Train for disrespect like a soldier trains for battle. No one states this directly. But if you aim for genuine emotional control, you must be prepared for disrespect. It will inevitably come from close friends, from colleagues at work, from complete strangers online, and even from those you've helped the most. When this inevitable disrespect strikes, you have only two options for reaction. First, be caught off guard, feel offended, and react impulsively. Second, be prepared beforehand, ready for such developments, and maintain complete composure. Stoic philosophy unequivocally favors the second option. When Marcus Aurelius awoke in the morning, he would tell himself, "The people I deal with today will be arrogant, deceitful, envious, ungrateful." Why would the great emperor utter such seemingly negative words? The reason is that this isn't negativity at all. It's deep emotional preparation. You aren't preparing for a serene world. You are preparing for the unpredictable war of life's twists and turns. And this is done so that when the usual order is disrupted, you yourself do not break with it. If you aim to become invulnerable, you should anticipate low blows. You need to expect to be misunderstood. You should be prepared for unfair treatment. Then, when all this happens, you won't flinch. You will react with coolness and resolve, like a soldier who has already undergone the necessary training for such trials. Here's a truth few are willing to accept. Disrespect is an inherent part of human existence. It shouldn't be taken as a personal insult. Rather, it's a specific test of spirit and will. And those who successfully overcome it aren't the loudest or most aggressive. They are distinguished by inner composure and coolness. You don't win by engaging in verbal sparring or showing reciprocal aggression. Victory is achieved when you maintain absolute calm and inner stillness. You can imagine it this way. Someone throws a stone of disregard or insult at you. You could throw it back, retaliating and engaging in confrontation. Or you could allow that stone to slide off your invisible armor and harmlessly fall to the ground. This invisible armor is forged from deep self-worth, from the firm knowledge that your own value isn't diminished because someone else is unable to recognize or acknowledge it. You don't need to raise your voice or fiercely defend your position to prove your worth. You don't need to explain to others that you deserve better treatment. You simply maintain unwavering steadfastness, like a warrior enduring the onslaught of the elements. Each time someone shows disrespect, you should hone your reaction. By staying cool-headed, demonstrating confidence in your posture, and remaining mentally focused, you will inevitably notice something. People who cannot throw you off balance will either come to respect your steadfastness or, being discouraged, will leave the field. In either scenario, you come out ahead. And no, the path to self-mastery won't always seem fair or easy. But this is precisely why you undergo this tempering. The goal of these exercises isn't to achieve momentary comfort or external approval, but the true goal is to develop inner self-mastery and emotional resilience. This is what makes you invulnerable to external emotional shocks. 6. Stop endlessly trying to feel better emotionally. Focus on developing more productive and clear thinking. Imagine you feel a crushing sense of gloom. You're in a state of mental overload. Perhaps you're experiencing anxiety, deep sorrow, or chronic exhaustion. And like most people, you seek quick relief, looking for distractions or temporary solutions that can offer only a fleeting sense of improvement, but ultimately lead to even greater emptiness. Why does this happen? The reason is that you don't simply need to feel better. You need to learn to think more effectively and constructively. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking, Marcus Aurelius asserted. Emotional manifestations themselves are not enemies of inner balance. However, it is the desire to rely on emotions as the sole source of well-being that becomes the trap many fall into. The Stoic sages understood this perfectly. Feelings are like turbulent waves crashing on the shore of consciousness, whereas thought is a sturdy ship capable of withstanding the storm's onslaught. You don't control every emotion that assails you, but you are perfectly capable of training your mind not to be swallowed by this emotional current. This means that instead of asking, "Why am I feeling this way?" you should focus on, "What thought generated this feeling?" Perhaps you feel anger because your expectations of someone weren't met. Perhaps you're overcome with sadness because you believed in a different outcome. In both cases, a specific thought becomes the source of inner discomfort. Therefore, instead of trying to suppress or stifle the emotional response, you need to change the mental filter behind it. The moment your focus shifts from the feelings themselves to the thoughts that produce them, true emotional clarity is achieved. You stop endlessly chasing euphoric highs and cease panicking about inevitable lows. You transform from a victim of your own mind into its conscious observer. There's a very practical Stoic approach. When you feel a powerful emotion, don't try to run from it or immediately fix it. Instead, it's recommended to simply be with it, accept it. Then, identify and name the thought that caused it. After that, ask yourself, is this thought wise and justified? Or is it just loud and intrusive? A significant portion of human suffering stems not from objective reality, but from unchecked thoughts that people never question. You don't need another emotional escape from reality. You need deep mental discipline. If you train yourself to think clearly, inner peace will follow naturally. If you learn to think slowly and deliberately, your anxiety will loosen its suffocating grip. If you develop the ability to think deeply, your emotions will begin to work for you, not against you. Feelings serve as important signals, but thinking is the rudder guiding your life's path. Thus, stop chasing what only temporarily makes you feel better and start developing a mindset that will truly make you better. This is the fundamental essence of Stoicism. 7. Don't overinterpret every inner feeling. Sometimes you wake up overwhelmed by anxiety. You might feel off-kilter, down, or disappointed, and immediately begin to deeply analyze this state. Questions arise in your mind. What's wrong with me? Why am I feeling this? Something bad is probably going to happen. However, there's an important truth not always stated. Not every feeling necessarily carries deep meaning. Some emotions are just fleeting energy impulses, biochemical changes, or simply a temporary inner state, like the body's weather. There's no need to always turn every such sensation into an entire narrative. As the ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus asserted, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The identical pattern holds true for our emotions. People suffer not so much because they feel too many emotions, but because they overanalyze their inner states and attach excessive meaning to what they feel. You might simply be tired. You might be hungry. Or you might just be experiencing natural human states. But instead of acknowledging this, your mind tends to immediately imbue these states with deep meaning. Thoughts arise. I'm not doing enough. Something is wrong with me. I'm failing in life. This is no longer a pure emotion. It's a judgmental overlay on top of the experience itself. Stoic practice prescribes simplicity. Observe, but don't attach. You can feel sadness without declaring yourself broken or ruined. You can experience anxiety without predicting imminent disaster. You can feel disappointment without turning it into a sign of your own moral flaw. Treat your emotions like fleeting clouds drifting across the sky. Notice them, accept them as they are, but avoid attaching judgmental labels. It is at this moment, when you master this approach and stop transforming every fleeting feeling into a complex story or deep narrative, that you gain true inner freedom. You realize that some feelings arise without any apparent external or internal cause, and some experiences simply don't deserve an immediate or tumultuous reaction. It is perfectly acceptable to feel not entirely comfortable, or even to be in turmoil while maintaining inner balance. Such a state isn't a sign of emotional indifference or numbness. On the contrary, it indicates developed emotional intelligence. A person possessing this quality can state, "Today I feel a sense of overwhelm, and that's perfectly normal. I don't know the reasons for these feelings, but I will let them pass through me." These feelings do not define who I am. If you can distance yourself from the direct meaning of your emotional experiences, these feelings lose their ability to pull you into a whirlpool of chaos. This is how true psychological resilience is formed. It's achieved not through a complete absence of emotions, but by resolutely refusing to let every fleeting feeling reshape or rewrite your identity. You must allow your feelings to arise and exist, giving them the space to pass through you. However, it is crucial not to hand them the pen to dictate and write your personal story. This is your exclusive prerogative. You choose what defines your essence. Remember, any transient feeling is never the full and exhaustive truth about you. Ponder deeply this statement. I experience emotions, but I don't let them define me. 8. Embrace silence and deliberately confront discomfort. It's noted that the vast majority of people struggle to remain still. As soon as a moment of silence arrives, they instinctively reach for sources of noise, music, cell phones, social media, anything that can fill the emerging void. However, this seeming emptiness is precisely the ground where inner strength is born and solidifies. The truth is that silence and uncomfortable sensations are not enemies of human development. On the contrary, they are valuable training grounds. The renowned philosopher Epictetus asserted that difficulties show what men are. Therefore, when problems and obstacles arise, they should be viewed as a kind of training for the spirit and will. Ponder this deeply. If you strive to achieve emotional steadfastness, you must consciously enter those spaces and situations from which most people prefer to flee. The reason is simple. When you practice being in silence, you begin to realize your true thoughts, those not masked by distractions and noise. Similarly, when you learn to confront discomfort, be it physical hunger, feelings of loneliness, or the experience of rejection, you develop a level of tolerance and resilience that no motivational quote, however inspiring, can instill. Many people, it seems, overlook one fundamental truth. Genuine growth is never born from a state of absolute comfort. True inner peace isn't gained by avoiding pain or difficulties. On the contrary, it's achieved only by bravely entering the very epicenter of trials, without a shadow of fear. The purpose of this immersion isn't agonizing suffering, but purposeful training of the spirit and will. You are recommended to dedicate 10 minutes daily to complete silence. In these moments, be without your phone, without music, away from all external stimuli, just alone with your breath. At first, your thoughts will likely rage like an unruly crowd. However, over time, they will gradually find peace and settle down. When this happens, you will attain an astonishing clarity of mind. Following this, you should actively cultivate discomfort. This could be taking a cold shower, or the ability to say no in situations where there's a strong desire to indulge others' expectations. It's also important to learn to consciously sit with your own desires instead of immediately satisfying them. And of course, speak the truth, even if your voice trembles with nervousness. These seemingly insignificant actions can rewire neural connections in the brain. They transmit a powerful message to your subconscious. Constant comfort is not required for safety. They clearly demonstrate that discomfort cannot destroy you. Instead, it contributes to your refinement and development. Once you overcome the fear of silence or pain, you will gain truly unshakable resilience. At that moment, No one will be able to affect you through feelings of isolation, external pressure, or general disorder, for you will have already undergone the appropriate training. This is how the ancient Stoics acted. They deliberately immersed themselves in states of need, rejection, hunger, and also practiced stillness and endurance. And this was not a display of weakness or masochism, but served the purpose of achieving complete readiness for any life circumstances. Therefore, you should purposefully cultivate experiences of discomfort, not for external effect, not as self-punishment, but based on a deep understanding. Each time you maintain calm and composure when facing inconveniences without panic, you build indestructible emotional armor. This is a true quality that many only pretend to possess. 9. Study every emotional misstep with the diligence of a detective. It happens that you lose your composure. You say thoughtless words in a fit of anger or succumb to an emotional breakdown. What do you do after that? Most people either feel guilty or, even more destructively, prefer to completely ignore what happened. However, true emotional mastery doesn't imply an absolute absence of mistakes. On the contrary, it lies in the ability to extract valuable lessons from every misstep or fall. As the renowned philosopher Seneca wisely remarked, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Thus, when emotions take over, you need to meticulously analyze the situation. You should turn into a skilled detective of your own mind and ask yourself, what catalyzed this reaction? What belief or thought dominated in that moment? What alternative actions could have been taken? You should treat every emotional outburst not as a failure or defeat, but as valuable information and indicators. For each time you react intensely, a part of yourself is revealed that still requires close attention, still yearns for further development and growth. Suppose someone said something disrespectful, and you lost your composure, erupting in anger. Instead of seeking excuses and defending yourself, you must meticulously analyze this situation. Perhaps the true emotional trigger wasn't the other person's words at all. Perhaps it was a deeply rooted belief that you're not respected if you don't respond to a challenge. In that case, responsibility for the reaction lies not with the other person. It's your own internal work. This consistent practice forms a stable habit capable of leading to genuine and profound changes. Every reaction, even the most intense, becomes a valuable lesson. Every mistake transforms into an important message, a call to action. And it's crucial to record these moments. Yes, indeed, you should regularly keep a personal observation journal. As you investigate your characteristic emotional reactions and behavioral patterns, like an experienced detective, you will see with absolute clarity which circumstances most often deprive you of peace of mind, which people trigger the strongest reactions, and which thoughts generate chaos and confusion in your mind. Deep awareness is a colossal force, because what you understand, you can transform, and very soon, you will begin to anticipate your reaction, noticing it approaching. You will feel the emotion building, sense its rise. But instead of letting it take over and merge with it, you will observe it impartially. You will tell yourself, there it is again. And then you will take a deep breath, make a meaningful pause, and redirect your energy. This is how the principles of Stoicism work. They are not about achieving absolute perfection or flawlessness. They are about purposeful and precise forward movement, about progress characterized by deliberation. You don't become invulnerable by rejecting or ignoring your emotions. You become impervious to their destructive influence by deeply understanding their nature better than anyone else ever could. Therefore, stop condemning yourself for your missteps and start studying your behavioral and emotional patterns as if your well-being and inner peace depend on it, because mental equilibrium truly does depend on it. Ponder deeply this statement. Every reaction is my roadmap to increased self-control. In a world that seems to thrive by feeding on universal chaos, anger, and incessant noise, finding calm becomes an authentic act of defiance. It is nothing short of a quiet revolution unfolding deep within the human soul. Now that the 9 Stoic habits have been revealed, it becomes clear. Their daily practice will not only reliably protect your inner peace, but also completely transform you, turning you not into an emotionless figure, but into a person possessing exceptional inner strength. The reason lies in profound changes. You will stop succumbing to every external irritant. You will no longer squander your precious emotions on those who completely don't deserve them. You will no longer lose your temper and break down every time life circumstances become particularly loud or unbearable. Instead, you will begin to move through life with astonishing composure. Your responses will be imbued with deep wisdom. You will carry your inner silence like a sharp sword, and those around you will undoubtedly take notice. Those around you will wonder why they can't seem to unbalance you. Your imperturbable calm will begin to cause them genuine discomfort and even anxiety. They will sense something entirely unexpected for those accustomed to seeing only an absence of reaction in calm people. True intimidation, a kind of awe before inner strength. This is the true power of inner peace. It doesn't need loud declarations or shouts. It doesn't beg for recognition or leniency. It simply exists, a fundamental and unshakable reality. You don't need to dominate others. You only need to master yourself. And when you achieve this mastery, you will transform into the most formidable and influential type of person. One who, despite their ability to feel deeply, is governed solely by reason. One who passes through life's fiercest storms, remaining dry-footed, unharmed, and unshakable. One who never succumbs to impulsive reactions, but only thoughtfully and deliberately responds to life's challenges. Let the world around you continue its unrestrained chase for external attention and fleeting popularity. You, on the contrary, consciously choose the path of discipline and self-control. Let the world around you descend into chaos and crumble. You, thanks to your inner core, remain absolutely whole and unbreakable. This is not just a change of habits. It's your new worldview and a fundamental way of life. Therefore, it's recommended to deeply ponder the following axiom. Your calm is your true strength.